Hey guys, it's Baron J67 with LV1 Gaming, and once again, we are sitting here at Summer Games Fest, and once again, I'm sitting here with the absolute legendary Troll Gaming Live.
God, you're gonna have to start with this legend.
No, I'm telling you, and he's here representing TRUNRD. Shout out to Julian. We wish you were here. Look, we wish you were here, bro. But no, so we're gonna try to whisper this because at this point in time, it's still under. But we actually got to get an inside peek at some stuff with Capcom. So, do we want to start with Onimusha?
Let's start with Onimusha.
Okay. So, I have. So when Onimusha first was out, which it was supposed to be a samurai version of Resident Evil.
Yeah.
I at that time when all that was first releasing, I avoided that stuff because I was a scaredy cat. I avoided all of it. I was so scared. Like I just couldn't. You seen how I was jumping in the showcase. I was absolutely terrified. But shout out to Dallas, man. He is a huge Onimusha fan to the point where I believe he even played like the Game Boy Advance one. Like he's heavy in that. They showed that off, and we got to sit down in a theater. Of course, at this time, we had to sign our life away with a bunch of documents and whatnot. But at this point, embargo's up, so that thank you, Capcom. But no, it was so dope seeing one. It was beautiful. That RE, what is it? The RE engine?
Yeah, the RE engine.
Bro, that RE engine, the hair, the flow of his cape, the hair of Ginryu.
Yes,
bro. Oh, dude. So it starts off. They give us a little backstory into the character, which I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about gameplay and just the world itself. So what was the one thing that stood out the most when it came to Onimusha?
For me, it was the weight of the parry system.
Ooh.
You know, we're in a day and age where everyone's playing Souls-like games and stuff.
Yes.
You know, people playing First Berserker, Kazan,
yes.
and like, you know, when you parry, that reward for parrying, you want to feel it.
Yes.
You want to go for it every time, even if it kills you. And I felt like off rip, like you see this big demon just coming, hitting you, and you're just like,
yeah,
and you just get slide across the sword, and I'm like,
sword sparking as you're attacking. Like in this, and they showed us 2 boss fights and a few enemy fights, a few just basic mobs. And what was super dope to me was how, and they kept mentioning it during the showcase, how collecting souls. So that's a big thing within the Onimusha game. They have the characters always have a gauntlet, and with those gauntlets, they're able to collect the souls of the enemies that they slay. And I'm butchering it because I don't know much of the Onimusha lore, so I apologize to those heavy duty fans out there. I seriously apologize. But what was so dope about it was if you took too long to absorb souls, certain enemies would take the souls from you and use them to power up and take you out. The combat animation was dope. Seeing the Ishin strike.
Yep, the Ishin strike, the skill moves.
The stealth kills. The stealth kills were super dope. Seeing even the health bars, that let me know that means there's going to be scaling of weapons and upgrading of gear, which if I'm not mistaken, that was something that was in older Onimusha games. So for me, this is all new. What I liked, and I don't know if it's because the dev was playing, but they did a no-hit run during the presentation with the boss. But it looked reasonable. Now, I'm fearful of making it sound to say easy because I highly doubt it. Like, clearly, it's a skill. It was a skill. Yeah,
definitely was like it was a combination of parries and dodges.
Yes,
like he was very aggressive,
but it looked like it was almost forgiving.
Yes,
like it wasn't like the absolute perfect timing, and then the boss had a solid rhythm to him. Yes, they did some variation. Like apparently, the story with this enemy was that the more damage they took, the more blood got on their seals, and that made them stronger. So the closer you got to killing them, the stronger the boss would get, and the pacing got faster and whatnot. But at the same time, it looked. I was like, I think I can do that, and that's normally when you see games that have the Souls-like elements in terms of hard combat, which is kind of wrong to say with an Onimusha game because it's older than the Souls-like genre. But just for those who don't understand, so you can know what I'm saying. I'm not trying to make it that reductive. But usually when you watch those type of hard combat, difficult blah 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 gameplay, you often see I see stuff and I'm like, I can't do that. Like I'll watch certain fights and I'm like, I can't do that.
You see stuff, you see those no-hit runs.
Yeah, and I'm like, I can't do that. But when I seen this, I don't know if it's me feeling super confident, but I was like, I could do that. Like it looked doable. Yeah.
Especially, you know, you didn't give it mention this, and I'll give you a hint what I'm about to talk about. Red and purple.
Oh yeah.
So in the gameplay, every boss, they have a health bar and an armor bar, you know, as you always see. Now the interesting thing here is if you break the armor bar, you see a purple and a red. So you get to choose between attacking a part of the body to make it a weak point or going for straight damage.
Yes.
So usually, you know, in the game, you break the armor and then you just swing as much as you can, do your highest damage and come up, do damage. Well, now it's like, okay, well, you can get this one damage I want, or continue to break down this part of the boss's body.
Yes.
So that when you do decide to go for it, it does a lot more.
Yes.
And he kept doing that.
Yes.
With one of the bosses, he kept going purple.
Yes.
And then when he finally hit him, I just see
his health bar just shrunk.
It went pew.
Yeah, and that's dope that there's options, and that's something I always like when it comes to games with a higher level of difficulty is options. Because I may be the guy who, you know, on average everybody will say daggers are the weakest weapon to use, but for me it's the best, and it worked for me. Yeah, it takes me longer in fights, but I'm able to, you know, that's best for me. The timing wise is best for me. So that's why that's what was super dope with that. I'm excited for that one. I don't think they didn't give any release dates or anything. Yeah. But they just showed off the gameplay and they said it was still in development.
I do have to ask you though.
Yes.
So you saw another part of we talked about the environment a little bit, but like this part we saw was in Kyoto. It's an actual temple shrine area in Kyoto. We saw like the clouds, you know, and the enemies in this game they're called Genma. And they give me that feel of like, you know, you're playing a game, you got to clear the area, and then it becomes all shiny, you know? We look at the cloud, we see the red spark, kind of stormy, you know, gloomy cloud, and they're like, okay, you kill the Genma in the area, and then it kind of like clears out. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah,
you know?
it opened up.
They give me like the classic game feel, you know?
Like you're clearing an area, and then the clouds part like on a map. That'd be dope if that's something in the map that shows too, like this area is clear.
Deflected, they had range enemies.
Yes, and you got to deflect their attacks. They rewarded you for perfect parrying.
Yes, they did, and there was one shot in there. Also, you do have a guard bar. You can't just spam guard.
Yes, but the 360 guarding.
Yes.
So, dude. So what's dope is with the guarding is you could actually stand in one spot and the enemy will attack from behind, and you're able to. It'll just automatically block. But it's not a thing you can cheese because, of course, after enough blocking, your block will break and you'll be stunned and all that other unfun stuff. I don't even think that's a real word, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Was there anything else that really stood out? Because, of course, this was our early build. It looked good. The RE engine was shining. Like, if that's what I believe that's what they develop in. It's you know what was crazy? We're fresh off of Monster Hunter World or Wilds. We're fresh off of Monster Hunter Wilds. Not even 3 months, if that. No, it hasn't even 3 months. And it already feels like there's a progression in the engine. It already feels like there's progress. Like these games we saw today look better than.
Like you can tell they started after Monster Hunter.
There you go. There you go. I didn't know how to phrase it. That's exactly it. And to see the progression. And to see for this to be an early build of a game, I'm like, I can only imagine what the final's going to look like. Cinematics were amazing.
And this was early. I can tell this was early because one of the things I noticed is when you hit the enemies, I wasn't really hearing a lot of sound.
Yes.
There wasn't really a lot of
or even the clipping on his glove. I didn't
really feel that. So when you parried, you could feel that. When you're hitting the enemies, and I feel like it's because it's early build. Yes. They haven't put that on.
And they did make note of that.
They did make note of that. And another thing I really like that we also mentioned, so some of these games, I get very addicted to just my basic attacks.
Yes.
I'm just like swing.
Yes.
If you did your Ishin special move, it actually generated more souls.
Yes.
So it's almost like you're encouraged to use all your abilities.
Yes.
Which is going to be a big thing because, you know, you're going to want to level up and want to purchase stuff.
And I like that because I like being rewarded for taking the harder route.
Yep.
Like a kill is a kill. That's cool. But, you know, the whole reward of killing things faster, like I get that. That's cool. But reward me for taking the harder path or the not button mashy path. Like give me, like you said, give me extra souls so I can buy abilities. Give me extra, you know, give me extra for taking the extra steps. I like that. Just like when games reward you for exploring. I love that. Like reward me.
You saw the ability he did. So it was like a skill where it's a parry, but you have to do it with an attack button. And he got the timing, and he just went back and went.
Yeah, and it was intense.
Dismemberment immediately, one shot, and that was so cold.
Yes,
and it's just like if you missed that, you probably getting hit. By some crazy. Attack. But he one shot that enemy immediately, just a one slash, and he was done. And I thought that was cool.
Okay, so we're hitting the time on that. Anything else you want to talk about on Onimusha?
Let's talk about Onimusha. Just saying, again, like I mentioned in the last video, just try not to compare this. You know, this game has, you know, we've been waiting for this for a long time. There's going to be a lot of people playing for the first time. Just enjoy the experience.
Yeah. Okay, so moving on. Let's talk about Pragmata. So now Pragmata is a game. I want to say they announced it years ago, a few years ago. I hope I'm not being dramatic and throwing a 10 on it, but I want to say at least 2 years for sure. I remember they showed the trailer with you and the girl on the moon and seeing Earth. Like, you know, it didn't understand what was going on. Honestly, it looked like a Kojima game when I first seen it. It reminded me of something. That's honestly what it looks like. Even now playing it, it reminds me of something Kojima would make. In all the best ways. And that's another thing leaning into the RE engine. The game looks beautiful. They didn't give us any story. This was literally just hands-on demo. There was no story at all. And then as it was starting to get to story, that's when they told us to put it down.
They tapped enough.
Yeah, they tapped your shoulder like that's enough.
That's enough.
But I'll say this. I'm looking forward to Pragmata. Based on gameplay alone, you're in space, you're in a space suit, and you feel like you're in a spacesuit.
Yes.
It almost had a mech feel as you were dodging. Like, did that
jetpack?
Yeah.
It felt a lot like Mecha Break.
Yeah.
With the jetpack, like you have a lot of fuel, but it's not crazy.
That's your stamina bar. Is the fuel?
Stamina bar,
yeah. All your movements are tied to your fuel gauge. And I wonder if you're going to be able to expand that, if that's going to be something that comes along with time.
I'd be surprised if you could.
Yeah. But yes, so shooting, the best way I can, or the cheapest way I can describe this is robotic spacesuit jetpack Dead Space. No, I mean with the way the combat is, but this is where the big twist comes in. You have to hack on the go, and with the way the hacking works is you had to hold L trigger and aim at the robot or the enemy you want to hack, and a little bubble pop or a little square pops up, and a mini game is going on as the real game is going at a slower pace. Of course, it's not 1-to-1, and as that's going on, you're actually pressing triangle to go up. It's like Snake.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Snake. It's like, so you're playing a Snake game, and as you're going triangle to go up, X to go down, what is it? Square to go left, and circle to go right. Or I'm sorry, cross. We were playing on PlayStation controllers. Cross. Oh, forgive us. But no, dude. So what'd you think of Pragmata?
I thought it was amazing. You know, like I was telling the devs that were there, I was like, when I played Cyberpunk, I was a net runner. So I was a big hacker dude. And so when they showed us the little how to play, they said, hey, you got to just make the armor weaker by hacking. First I was like, oh, this is great. And then when you're doing it, you know, just like with Snake, you have little things, you have an objective, you have an endpoint, and there's like little things you can pick up along the way to get to your endpoint. And like those like end up doing a lot of damage. So like they have like little blue boxes. So it's like you can go all the way down to your goal and get the hack, or if you press extra buttons and risk getting hit by the enemy, you could do way more damage by going through those. And then as we started playing, they had like little modifiers that you could get to. Like they had one that made it like you have more defense and more armor. So like I thought that was cool, man. Like that, and then like the guns felt kind of light. You know, it didn't have crazy recoil.
Yes.
Yeah,
there wasn't.
You're spending all this time hacking. The last thing you want to do is not
worry about
shoot.
And I like that they did make it feel spacey. Like it did feel futuristic. It wasn't like it felt grounded futuristic, like what space would in terms of the environment. It looked like what I could imagine space look like, the way we interact with space as of now. But the enemies were definitely advanced. You're dealing with different advanced robots, whether it's humanoid designed robots or big tank style robots. You get a dash feature, moving around with that. And I like that the weapons felt futuristic. Like it didn't dawn on me the lack of recoil, but that actually makes sense because you're focusing on plugging in and doing the hacking. It's super dope, and and then did you get to the point to where you got to pick up special abilities, like extra things?
I was talking about the armor.
Yeah,
that was dope.
Get to increase your damage, lower the enemies,
and they're limited.
Yes,
so you have to pick when you want to use
them.
So,
and then you can avoid it. Like you don't even have to use them. You can move around, and there's different grids. So the first grid you get, what was it, like 4x4?
Yeah, 4x4.
And then I've seen one that was it was smaller. What was it, like
2x2?
Yeah, and it was just boop boop, and then you're done. And it's cool, the timing they give you. It felt fair. There you go. I was worried when they showed us the preview of it, like they gave us a short little walkthrough. I was worried that it was going to be too difficult because I'm a button masher at heart. Anybody who knows me, I'm a button masher at heart. So when I seen this, I was like, oh, I'm going to struggle. Like I immediately, honestly, I almost got turned off by that when I first saw it because I'm a button masher. So for me, my worry was the core part of the game I'm not going to be able to do, not successfully. So when I got hands-on with it, I almost ran through the demo twice. I almost got to the end of the demo again. They only gave us 20 minutes, and that's not because it was short or easy, but I just got that good at it. And I was like hitting my combos, I was getting double damage, I was knocking everything down. So in saying all of that, I thought it was absolutely amazing that the way it all came together. And because I don't think they've shown publicly the hacking portion. When you guys see that, don't let it scare you. I promise you, it's not necessarily easier because you're thinking on the fly, but it's manageable.
It's not too many buttons. Because that was my biggest fear when they showed me. I felt like, it's gonna be.
You did say that. You were like, oh, what? How many? What'd you say? You were like the command. Like how many? Yeah.
I was like, how many buttons? Like I thought I was gonna need to
get the
on PC. Yeah. And get some crazy,
special controller.
You don't need it.
But no, dude. Like seriously, I thought that was cool.
Can we talk about the relationship between the little girl and the guy? Because the guy just comes over there and meets the little girl.
Well, I don't want to talk too much about it because they didn't explain anything.
We got the little cutscenes. Did you skip them?
Well, no, I didn't skip them, but they didn't tell anything. You woke up and then he was like, oh man, whose daughter works?
Exactly.
Who left their kid at work? And like that was kind of it. Like, and I felt like it wasn't enough there to really dive into it without just pure speculation.
That's true.
Yeah. That was my thought about it.
No,
but
you're definitely right.
And it clearly wasn't the main point. Like it's clearly not why they wanted us there.
Yeah.
So let's move on and talk about the big boy. We're in public and we're trying to be respectful of the space, but we got a private area to do this interview. And this, of course, will go up after the embargo. But we got to see Resident Evil 9. We got to absolutely see it. It was real. They played it in front of us, and I had jump scares. I wish I could. I had jump scares. It was perfect. It did what it was supposed to do. It was terrifying. It was like, and then even when the lights came on in the game, it didn't make it any better. It actually made it scarier. I thought it would have fixed it. No, it made it worse. Because now instead of all of it being shadows, it added shadows, and it made like I am going to be scared.
I'm getting goosebumps talking about it.
No, because it was terrifying. In a good way. Like not as it looked bad, but no, that RE engine, man.
Yeah.
That RE engine.
Also, can we give a shout out to the Capcom team for like continuing from the trailer?
Yes.
So for those of y'all that watched the Summer Games Fest trailer,
yes,
the gameplay we saw was
took off right from that point. Yes.
So you watched the end of the trailer and you saw, you know, the commissioner, whoever he was, telling the girl like, "Hey, you know."
And then when old girl was in the
she was in the, you know, strapped to the bed.
Yeah.
That's
it literally starts from right there. And they did such an amazing job of create the atmosphere, the audio. Oh my! So this was the thing that stood out the most to me.
The breathing.
The breathing. There was two things: breathing, and anytime you looked a different way, her feet. It wasn't just her neck moving. She pivoted. So you're constantly hearing footsteps.
Yep.
I kept thinking people were walking up on her, but it was just her looking around. And so and then she's terrified and you can hear it. And then just the giant monster and building up to the monster. And like there was about 5 minutes of maybe longer of build up before you even see a monster. Yeah.
It's just her walking around and like looking up corners, and we're just like, okay, where's the jump scare?
Every corner. Every corner.
We're like, where's the jump scare?
I was like, is it coming? Is it coming? I even covered my face for a bit. And Troll was like, nah. Troll was like, nah, you gotta open up, man. You gotta look. And I was like, oh, but what stood out to you, man?
What stood out for me? I like that and you know, we haven't seen much of the game at all, but like just seeing that boss or that enemy, it wasn't an enemy where I'll just be like, yeah, let me go face this on head on.
Yeah.
I was genuinely terrified. I mean, she kept running into that little room. There's like this little room that they kept showing. And every time I'm like, what? Can you stop going out of this door? Like, I'm genuinely afraid.
Every time.
Because she keeps going out of this door and this monster is just stalking. It's almost like this is like some holy room where like the monster can't get in.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Because like every time she goes out, the monster's is there ready to attack.
I'm wondering how much of the stalking mechanic that we've seen in previous titles, like in what was it in 3, and 7, or the first part of 7, and then in the first part of 8. Like I wonder how much of this is going to be part of the game. All I know, because what was it in 2? The stalking was the whole time, right? The whole game up until the end, till you get the rocket. Spoiler alert. But no, it was. Yeah, 3 as well. 2, 3, yeah. That was a big part of it. And one thing I thought during this showcase trailer, I don't know we're hitting time because I gotta get going. I didn't realize it. I thought it was going to be more of a 6 from the way they talked about it. I thought they were going to make a first-person RE6. Because didn't they say the words like, oh, cinematic, a big... So in my head, I was like, oh, it's going to be an action game. Like, you know?
Yeah.
But then to see this...
Wait for it.
So you could switch back and forth on the fly between first and third person. Insane.
They waited to the very end, too.
Very end.
She ran away from the monster. They pressed start. I was like, is this live? Like,
I was like, what are they doing?
What are they doing? And then you just see them toggle to third person.
Yes, first and third person on the fly.
Everyone lost.
Hey, but I actually got to get going. I forgot what time it was. Folks, make sure, let them know where they can find you. And
TrollGamingLive on everything. I'm going to post more about this on TRUNRD.com.
Shout out, Julian.
Shout out, Julian.
Once again, guys, thank you for being here. If you made it this far, please hit that like and subscribe button, and I'll make sure to put TrueNerd and Troll Gaming Live's links all below. And you guys, we're at Summer Games Fest, day 1. I'm already feeling like I had a whole week's worth of stuff, and we got a lot more to go. Much love. Peace.